I'm frustrated. I am very, very frustrated. I talk about something a lot where the reason I fell in love with soccer, with football, right? Because I'm American. I had to go out of my way to fall in love with it, right? But I got a lot of other sports going on. The US is kind of just getting on this train, right? I had to go out of my way to fall in love with it. And the reason that I did is because it felt different. It felt different than sports that are played in the United States. And a big reason for that is that the intensity and the length of reviews, the game was subjective, right? Where in the United States, sport is objective, or at least it tries to be and pretends to be, where the officials, you have to play every second of the game. Even if it's a 30-point game with 1 second left and the ball goes out of play, we have to play the final second. If the ball touches the ground at all, no catch, right? Like if somebody's hair, just one strand of hair is out of bounds, we'll look at it on the replay for 20 minutes just to make sure that that person is out of bounds. Okay? And what soccer never had was that, right? It was I've talked about this before. I'm sure I've talked about this before on this channel. That if the ball goes out, you don't have to take the throw in from the exact right spot. The referee ideally is going to end the game when it feels like a good natural point to end the game somewhere near the right amount of time. Right, there is a natural ebb and flow. Like if there's a foul, you don't have to stop the game every time and set up the wall. They can take it quickly, right? And then there's that strategy you try and get in front of the ball to keep them from taking it quickly. Like there's a subjective nature to it. There's a game management nature to it. But I have had that conversation previously on this channel. In the instance that I am afraid that VAR at one point will become what I know American sports reviews are, what they already are. Agonizing, frame by frame, one pixel here, one pixel. I was afraid that soccer was going to turn into that at some point. The horrible realization for me today is that it's already there. We are already there. The soccer, the entirely subjective part of the game that I loved so much, the kind of ebb and natural flow to it's already gone. In some senses, it is already gone. And all you need to do is look at the Coventry-Manchester United game today, because I have some complicated thoughts on this. The first of which, hell of a game. I mean, people talking about how the FA Cup has taken on less value. This is what the FA Cup is all about, right? I'm not English. I'm not over here singing Rule Britannia, but this is like an amazing, amazing match. If you missed it, it's Manchester United against Coventry City in Wembley. You know, Coventry City seems to be going to Wembley every year all of a sudden, but a great FA Cup semifinal. We got the American Haji Wright out there for Coventry City, but it looks like a run-of-the-mill smash from the bigger team, Manchester United being the bigger team, obviously in this case. Scott McTominay scored in the 23rd minute. Then Harry Maguire got big on a corner. I believe it was a corner. It was a cross in, obviously, to his giant forehead. And that made it 2-0 right before the half. And it looked like they were just going to keep running away with it. Bruno Fernandes, really nice work in the box to create a third goal in the 58th minute. But you could tell Coventry was kind of playing its way into the game. And that came about in the 71st minute. A really nice finish by Sims, who's a guy I was basically introduced to today. He really tidy. I think it hit his shin, but still tucked it near post, like nothing Onana's doing. You knew if Coventry City was going to pull off the comeback, right? They were going to need some luck, and they got it. The second goal was just a massive looping deflection. I watched that replay about 20 times. Onana definitely thinks the ball's going over, so he kind of stops and watches it, and it just shaves the crossbar and comes right in behind him. Really awkward moment if you're a goalkeeper. It's a tough goalkeeping spot. The shot's already been deflected wickedly, so you're having to change the direction you're going. I don't know if I blame Onana too much. He definitely thought that ball was going over, though. That's the stroke of luck that kind of sprinkles in the pressure. And then we get a handball, a very obvious handball that kind of... I just hiccup and cough at the same time. Am I going to die? But the play kind of looked like the Jack Grealish play, right? Where Wan-Bissaka may or may not know what he's doing, but his arm is out. It's right here. And then the ball just hits it. You know, if a ball's being crossed, you can't make yourself bigger with your arms as a defender. Stone cold penalty, and a stone cold penalty taken by Haji Wright as well. He dispatches that bad boy. And that is tough. That is a tough penalty in the 95th minute. There was 6 minutes of stoppage time, so we had 1 minute left. 95th minute of the match to tie it at 3. Incredible comeback. Right. And there were some other moments in this game, right? That takes us to extra time before the big moment that obviously we're going to talk about. That's, the reason I had the monologue at the beginning of this video. There was an incredible volley that Onana makes an unbelievable save on. I mean, it might be the hardest volley I've ever seen. I'll see if I can find that one for you. I try not to show you guys everything, obviously, with copyright and stuff, but I feel like we might be able to sneak that one in. Okay, I can't find a video from the stands where I feel like I can show you, but this is a tweet. Onana denies Torp. That was insane. You could see the leap of Onana. This is after he's made the save. The ball is he's still like basically where he made the save, and the ball is already flying away from him. It was the hardest volley I've ever seen. It's an amazing save. Both teams hit the post as well. I mean, Coventry City had a chance where they were kind of right in front of Onana, and it just went off the crossbar and went out to the side. Manchester United had Bruno Fernandes thump the ball from distance, bar down, but it didn't go over the line. Harry Maguire shook one of the defenders out of their shoes because some reason he was on one of those random forays forward, cuts it back to his right foot and tries to bend it into the far post. It needed a save or it was going in. This was a wild match. If you missed it, I feel bad for you. It was fantastic. And it brought us to what was supposed to be the wildest moment. It was a very simple looking play where Haji Wright is fed the ball and he crosses it to Torp, and it basically should have won them the game. So there's Haji Wright. He has the ball played into him and then just crossed to Torp. I don't know how. It just looks so easy. Like Manchester United's defense is just not covering here. I don't know what they're doing. Like if you told me this is the last minute of an FA Cup match, I would have no idea what's going on. But the issue is where Haji Wright was when this ball was played. Because while he looks onside here, this goal didn't count. And Manchester United would go on to win in a penalty shootout after going behind in the penalty shootout because Casemiro took a lame duck of a penalty. And full credit to Collins. He waited for it and actually managed to make the save. So good for him. Collins, look, he had a pretty darn good game. I'm going to be honest. Both goalkeepers were pretty up to the challenge in this one. But Manchester United ended up winning, so we are getting a Manchester derby in the FA Cup final. But the offside call, the reason for my passionate monologue about the game being gone is the offside. That's the offside. And I'm going to be honest, I'm looking at this line and it looks like it's going over his shoe. Like, I'm not an expert, right? I'm not somebody that has gone to school for 10 years and gotten my medical doctorate in order to be able to draw these lines in the VAR room. That looks like he's going over his foot. This was the call. We were robbed of one of the great footballing moments, one of those 30-minute sports compilation that's going to make you cry sort of moments because of that. And I'll be honest, this is probably, unless that line is just being weird and not like actually on his foot, because it totally feels like that line is on his foot here, right? This is probably the right call. This is the deal with the devil you make when you decide you are going to review everything. You inevitably slide into what American sports have already been for a long time. I've grown up in this world. I've grown up watching teams that I like win and lose because of centimeters. And that is where we are. The game is already there, and it sucks. It sucks. Is it the wrong call? I don't think so. Do I wish it was the wrong call? Yes. And I feel like even if you're a Manchester United fan, you feel a little dirty looking at this picture. I don't know how you couldn't feel like that. I mean, that's, on the playground, that's a goal, right? Without VAR, it's a goal, right? Nobody's calling this back. Now, if we're breaking out that semi-automatic make a plane offside technology that the Prem is apparently going to be employing next season, then you can see somebody breaking the plane and you're like, what? It's his toe. It's maybe his toe. And then especially in the spirit of the game, when we're talking about offside, which is a rule that's designed to prevent cherry picking, right? If we're talking the spirit of the rule here, he checks back to receive the ball. I know coming from an offside position to an onside position, back to receive the ball is still offside. I am aware that this is still technically against the rule. I'm just talking about, I don't think the offside in this position is being used to gain a meaningful advantage. I don't think it really contributes to the goal scoring ability to, like, the ability to score this goal at all. I realize that's a judgment call, but officiating soccer and football is a judgment call. Right? If somebody's creeping up the line with a throw-in, it's your judgment call whether you deem they've gone too far. If somebody takes a free kick quickly, it's your judgment call as to whether that's allowed or not, or whether somebody was too close, all these different things. Somebody has a head injury, it's your judgment call as to whether that's a legit head injury or not, so you have to stop the game. This officiating football is full of judgment calls. That is all it is. It's a judgment call, right? And I would love for there to be some leeway here so that sort of thing can be preserved. I realize that opens a whole can of worms. I realize that allowing that leeway opens it. Well, how far does the leeway go, right? If you're allowed to be offside now, well, then how far are we going to go? Look, I don't know. But what I do know is this makes me feel dirty inside. And I'm not even a Manchester United fan. This makes me feel scummy. This makes me feel like I was robbed. Even if it is the right call, it just makes me feel like the game is gone. So I'm not somebody that likes to sit here and complain without a solution. So I have a solution for you. I don't know if you're familiar with the sport of baseball, right? Baseball, great sport. If you're not into it, totally fine. I'm going to explain something for you. Home run, biggest play in baseball, right? Like a goal is in soccer, right? That's the biggest play, the most important play. Runs are being put up, right? The home run is reviewable in baseball. It is. If we're not sure if the ball went over the fence, or maybe it went off a fan, or maybe it hit the top of the wall, or maybe it hit somebody's glove, whatever, you can review that in baseball. But you can't review balls and strikes. Balls and strikes are still called by the umpire behind the plate, right? And that's the one pitch at a time, whether it's in the strike zone or not. That is still called by the guy behind the plate. There is no review process for it, and they just let it happen. And you just accept that that's part of the game. That part of the game is your ability to manipulate that umpire, right? And the human element of the game is part of it. It works for baseball, in my opinion. I still like baseball. Every once in a while, an umpire really misses a strike call, and it sucks, but it's also a fun part of the game. You get these giant arguments, and there's the art of framing pitches, right? It's this idea in baseball that when you catch it, you move the glove right towards the middle of the strike zone so that the umpire behind you thinks that it's a strike. So it's part of the game, the fact that sometimes the calls can be wrong. I am afraid of this. And again, it makes me feel dirty, and I don't like it, and I want to be able to instantly celebrate a goal or know that it's offside. We need goal line technology. Everybody on the face of the earth should acknowledge that we need goal line technology, which, by the way, if you're wondering if I'm going to talk about Real Madrid and Barcelona, that video is coming tomorrow. There's just too many things that happened today, and I don't have enough time to make videos on all of them, but I swear I'm going to talk about goal line technology tomorrow. But you need that, right? You need the ability to review obvious missed red cards and those sorts of things. But offsides, particularly not painfully obvious missed offsides, right? I mean, this is not a painfully obvious miss. This is the type of offside that nobody with the naked eye would be able to see with 100% certainty. I'm okay with reintroducing the human element to this type of offside call. I am okay with it being a judgment call on the field. And every once in a while, you're going to have to live with the fact that they get it wrong. But you know what? You also get to live with the fact that on every playground in America, in England, and Brazil, this is a goal, right? This is a goal. And in the FA Cup semifinal, it's not. And I get the fact that according to these lines, even though I swear it looks like it's going over his shoe, that it is technically offside. I just don't like it. And I would love a solution that would allow us to not have to sit here and draw lines, right? Like we're back in geometry class. I'm into sports, so I don't have to do math. Please save me from the math. Save me. Now, there's something else batshit crazy in this game that I just want to talk about that I think is hilarious. And it has to do with Anthony. Look, I don't know. Anthony bothers me, right? When you're in the, I bother some people too. When you're in the public eye, you just bother. You bother certain people. Actually, that's a lie. You all love me, right? Right? Huh? You didn't know I could do that. That's not even editing. That's just me hitting the stream buttons over here. No, but seriously, Anthony's always just bothered me, right? He just has. And after the goal was scored, Anthony, who didn't even start the game, right? He's going in front of the Coventry players doing this, cupping his ears at them. That's Anthony right here. These are the Coventry players. Like, what are you doing, bro? Like, you didn't even take a penalty. There's not like this is the kid on the bench just talking the most trash. Like, this is so, and you know who else I want to give credit for? Because I don't like being the celebration police. If you win, celebrate all that you want to, right? I'm not in the camp of celebration police. I realize that is literally what I'm doing right now, but it's probably just because Anthony bothers me and I feel like he didn't do anything in this game. You got to earn the right to celebrate. But like, if you go beat a third division team 7-0 and you had 2 assists and a goal, you could celebrate. I mean, you went out and you beat them and you talk all the trash you want. Maybe they were talking trash to you. But you know what? There was somebody else that really showed a great side. Harry Maguire has every excuse to hate the world, to hate everybody. That dude's been getting bullied by the internet, by people in real life all over the world for years. I mean, really years. And that would break me. That would break everybody. And yet, after this game, he's still such a nice guy. I'm going to have you watch this, right? This is the penalty. Then you got Rasmus Højlund. He takes the penalty. He scores it. Obviously, Manchester United they don't know what to do with this celebration. Of course, they don't know what to do with this celebration. They blew a 3-goal lead. They're playing a team from the championship. They won, but they know they have to play Manchester City. It's an awful spot for them, right? So you've got Højlund who's celebrating super. Now you've got Anthony who's just, prancing around with his hands to his ears. Who's this? That's Harry Maguire. The first thing Harry Maguire does is he goes and he shakes the hands of the Coventry players, right? I got a lot of respect for that. That is after a very hard fought game, a very nice thing to do, right? I would have had no problem if they all sprinted over and celebrated with Rasmus Højlund, but Anthony in particular, by himself, right? Even if it's a team thing, like Argentina at the World Cup after the Netherlands, then that match, clearly everybody hated everybody and the entire team's running around talking a ton of trash. For it just to be Anthony, he's doing this while Harry Maguire is shaking hands with them. Like, that's just absurd. The different messages being sent here, like you got a couple of United players hugging, these few guys are like walking towards Højlund. It's just awkward, right? It's just a pretty awkward situation considering you did just win an FA Cup semifinal, and I would have been totally okay with them celebrating like crazy. What a match. And you won. Congratulations. But this is just such a weird optic. He's shaking hands with him as Anthony's backpack, just prancing with his hands to his ears. Like, what was Anthony's match rating in this match? It can't have been good. Bro, he dropped a 6.4. Come on, man. He came in for Garnaia 6.4. Really? That's what we're doing, man. You come in, you spin in a circle a few times, and then talk all the trash in the world. You have the same match rating as Omari Forson. That dude's a youth player. But anyways, I am sad that the game seems to be going into he's 1 inch offside universe. It bothers me. I don't like it. I realize that it is inch perfect, probably the right call. I just wish that the game could go in a different direction. Maybe the baseball direction where we leave some things just up to the human element. Yeah, that sounds good. All right.